So let's get into the next topic. So now, how do you handle winning in fighting games? Because sometimes you can be winning and winning and winning and not truly improving um, to a certain degree. You know, you think what you're doing, your tactics are working, and you don't need to change. And sometimes that can happen when you get the big head. You think that you're just the best. Now, how do you guys like handle winning?
Again, I kind of refer to my those little victories. You should be proud of your wins, especially if they're wins for something that you're intentionally trying to improve on. The wins of the match, I think that's a trap. If you're just winning games and not paying attention to how you're winning, you're just kind of like how I was before I met you on Tekken. I was beating some people, but I didn't know how I was beating it. I was too focused on the high from emerging victorious, but mashing all the buttons. I was better at mashing the buttons. I was timing my mashes. But once you develop some level of competence and you're aware of how much you don't know, those little victories, things that within the match that you are focused on. For example, in Virtual Fighter with John, one thing I want to focus on is like how to do this step because like I'm learning how to move in that game, and it looks like there's two different side steps. There's the step that automatically pushes you around a move that's not tracking, and then there's if you press the buttons to step that Dead or Alive shamelessly ripped off in five. I guess this is the game it came from, where it's like, oh yeah, we got a side step too.
No, they're kind of different. That's not the same. So what you're talking about, the one where you press a button in in VF, that actually doesn't do anything. So that's called an offensive move. An
Mm,
offensive move works like free step in DOA, just walking around. So it's
yeah.
like the opposite. Like it has zero evasive properties. Like you will get hit if you try to use
Uh,
it as a evade. It has zero evasive properties. It's only meant for positioning, just like you know uh, a free step in DOA, just walking around. Like that also has no evasive properties, right? But the
mm.
command step in DOA has evasive properties. Um, but the that the
Yeah, that's what I meant. It would just seem like they just threw it in there because, like, it does have properties in DOA, but it's like I'm talking about how it was implemented. Because in DOA, if a move don't track, it just don't track, and
right.
that step because DOA never really had that in this system to where it needed to be.
Well,
But
moves that don't track will still hit a free step.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
that's why.
mean.
Yeah, because like in DOA five, it made a difference. Because like in the previous DOAs, the only moves you could actually sidestep were ones where you were flying in the air,
Yeah,
like Ayane's super fronts was like, oh, I can step that.
yeah,
But
to get around the whole fucking opponent, you get all the way to their fucking back. They better not be able to hit you at that point. But it's like,
yeah,
yeah, like the offensive move in VF, it works just for positioning, just to change where you are. But the step in DOA, it's it's kind of see that's the thing. Like the step in DOA is actually like its own thing because if you do so the evade when you press up or down in VF, if you successfully evade, then it'll play the sound and your character say hut and then they'll move, right? But if that's called a successful defensive evade or defensive move. But if you press up or down and there was no move that came out, that's called a failed evade.
yeah,
And you are punishable during that entire time. Um, but in DOA, the like evade that's in that game, it works the same way whether you evade something or you don't evade something. But like the failed evade and the successful evade are like completely different. If you do a successful evade, you move farther, you move faster, and you are completely invincible the entire time during that evade. And a failed evade is literally the opposite of that. It's slow, it doesn't move very far, and you're punishable the entire time you're doing it. Uh so like yeah,
No.
sorry, that was a
Well,
caveat, but
another useful thing is to have friends that know how to correct you when you're learning something new. So that
Yeah,
is another useful resource you could have.
yeah,
yeah.
true.
So, but
Friends.
yeah,
So,
Friends.
but were you finished making your point, Josh? Or
well, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like just learning like little victories are things like that. Understanding a move and successfully utilizing it as it was intended mid game. Not winning, just being able to do that because I think that stuff compounds over time to where it becomes second nature, and
yeah,
now you're able to do it without. When something happens, you'll know exactly what happened versus just being frustrated. Like I'm just getting hit. Like I don't know if y'all remember, it was like the one time where I started fucking whining about Tekken. Like this usually works all the time, but now it don't. See,
yeah.
I was just mad because I was so focused on winning and I wasn't winning. And I thought I was like, well, yeah, all this shit I learned was pointless. So this game is stupid now because I'm frustrated. So
So
yeah.
for me, I think the way you handle winning, you have to. I think you have to like be happy about it. Be happy about it. Like me, I don't know if you can see me back here playing this match here, but we don't know what we're doing. This like he don't know what he doing, and I don't know what I'm doing at all. But we are having like the time of our lives. We're having fun, and I'm winning, and I'm enjoying myself. Right, but at the same time, when you're winning, you have to understand there's a level that you haven't obtained yet. You have to win and still want to be better. About far as what you're doing. So
Yeah.
uh, I'm gonna say I want to be careful about saying being humble about your wins because I like to trash talk, and then my friends trash talk me. So that's just what we do. So sometimes even the sorriest win, when we don't know what we're doing, we kind of like celebrate like hard, right? So it's all fun and games. Make sure to enjoy it, but understand that you have you know a level that you need to attain this higher. So
Mhm.
all right, but in attaining that level, I'm going to kind of segue into the next topic. Um, you know,
You didn't ask Cross about winning.
I'm sorry, I didn't. You know what? It slipped my mind.
It's all right. I never win anyway.
But yeah, so how do you handle winning in fighting games?
I don't know actually. I feel like it's best to kind of just recognize what worked and why it worked, and then just keep that in the back of your mind. Oh, okay, this worked. That's interesting. I wonder why it worked. Kind of pay attention to why uh, particular things in the match worked. Like, okay, I did this setup on him. He mashed here. Maybe that was just him. Maybe he's a masher. Let me
Yeah,
try that on somebody else. And then you just kind of, it's like the only time winning should really matter is when there's something on the line. Like you're playing at a tournament or you're playing, I guess, ranked match. But like, there are times where winning really matters. And then there's other times where winning is more so should be a result of your training. It's like, oh, I won because I employed these things correctly and it resulted in a victory.
you know what? You know what? I didn't even think about that. Winning and losing in tournaments. Ooh man, losing in a tournament feels so
That's because it
bad.
matters. Like it doesn't matter when we're just fucking playing.
You
Like,
know, I
you
think I
know,
might have
like,
to put
okay,
that topic
whatever.
on here. It's crazy.
Because
I
that's when you
think
don't
about
have
that.
time to sit there and be like, oh, let's see what's going on here. You just gotta kill him. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, I just gotta kill you. Like, there's no time for me to sit here and play with you. I gotta kill you. And so you need to be able to turn that gear on what works, what kills. Maybe he can figure it out later in practice mode. But like, now you have something in your mind where you're like, I know this works against a lot of different people. It's reliable. And because I know it works. I know it works at this level. And then if it doesn't, you can be ready to switch quickly because you only have 2 out of 3 games. You don't have 10 games to be like, oh, actually, this guy does this. So it's like you need to be able to, okay, that tactic didn't work. I need to be able to try this, because it's a tournament. It ain't about really who's the best player out of a long set. It's who can win in a short set. you know, the skill set is different. How you
Yeah,
approach the match is different.
man, I didn't think about that because like the way I win and lose online and the way I lose in tournament is like two different things. Like when I lose in tournament, oh, it's so devastating. My heart be broken. Especially like if I lose to somebody that I know I could have beat, or I dropped a combo,
Yeah.
uh, or it's like you realize that you're not as good as you thought you were. Like you fight somebody that's just on another level. You fucking Yamcha and you going against Vegeta or somebody. It's like, damn, this power level is just too much.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
it's eye opening because you kind of get to see what your weaknesses are. Firsthand, especially fighting a top player. It's but yeah, those are some of the hardest losses. And then when I win, like my heart be beating so hard in some tournament matches that I don't even care about the win. It's like, oh man, I'm so glad this is over. Like when you fight somebody, just like, oh man, this is a tough opponent. It's like, oh my god, it's like it's so close. It's like I don't even be thinking about the winning at all. Just,
yeah.
whew, I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, sometimes the stress of the game can put you in a different space. Like I will say, like tournaments probably isn't something that most regular players are gonna be worried about. I know
Yeah,
fight games are super popular these days, but don't expect tournaments to be a thing unless you graduate from the proper class. And you like that's something you're really trying to pursue. If you're
yeah,
just playing fighting games online, it's probably gonna be where that story ends for most people.
yeah.